yours.
Always.
Yay.
Thank you. I am Simmons Bunton, and when I was 16, I went to Los Angeles and was the model as the Coors Light Beer Wolf, posing with Elvira. That is the thing about me
I was like,
Oh, wow.
that maybe you don't know. And I can
But
prove
now
it.
we do.
I'm going to read two poems, none of them from this beautiful anthology, Taking Liberties. The first one is from our wonderful host who is remote this evening, Pamela Usha. And it's a poem that appeared in terrain.org. It's called, I Have an Illegal Alien in My Trunk. Just north of the border, the Migra doesn't consider this bumper sticker a joke. Only a Chihuahua without papers, maybe a pair of pawn cowboy boots would fit in the trunk of this mini SUV, driving Oracle swarming at rush hour. Even though half of Tucson's traffic speaks Spanish, the legislature declared English the only legal fuel. It's the same continental divide, stubborn and paralytic as the steel-plated wall, insulting our nation's learning curve as it cleaves us. For over 70 years, my grandma's high cheekbones were illegal. Lovely as a tiger lily, she spoke the 6 severed tongues dividing her heart. In a grave that does not spell out her name in any language, she is beyond the shovels of police who would have to dig up her bones to deport them back to a village outside Prague, where beneath a Catholic church are layered the crumbling skulls and femurs of her ancestors slaughtered by centuries of wars. I am safe in my adobe house with its rainbow nations of chuckling quails, Pyroluxia, Phenopeplas, choirs of mockingbirds, skitterish verdins and purple finches, coyotes, javelinas, rattlers, scorpions, collared and leopard lizards, and the not-so-silent majority of English sparrows who accommodate too easily to walls. There is not one passport among them. The cactus wren weaves her tough nest among the barbed thorns of the cholla, while round-eared gophers construct complex subways for their babies to run under chain-link fences separating yards. Each day along the border of our sealed hearts, gleaming with coiled razor wire, traffic idles, waiting for armed guards to pillage each car trunk for contraband, people, and drugs. I have seen our agents rip out the interiors of vans, spit commands at old women with black hair and dark skin. Sanitary, they use rubber gloves to deconstruct the meager grocery bags and plastic purses of common lives. Indians are particularly suspect, even though reservations were drawn like tumors by both governments to spill across borders, so that whole families are amputated like unnecessary limbs. This morning, walking the Rito River, we read bilingual signs warning the thirsty not to drink irrigation water, slaking imported ornamental bushes and flowering trees. This year, statistics say twice as many border crossers will die of thirst in Arizona. Who can stop tongues, alien or otherwise, from swelling black at noon? After all, in the barbed wire waiting room of the heart, there is no seating for sentiment, nor room for the frail arms of hope to save strangers, even if they are nursing mothers or desperate fathers looking for work who haven't yet learned the English word for porque. After all, waging a war on terror, like any war, is not for the faint ambitions of the humane. So, in the game of homeland security, we erect a bulletproof wall across the borders of our souls that guarantees destruction must win. And I'm going to read now a poem from Dear America, which is an anthology that came out in 2020, but certainly seems as relevant today, actually more relevant today. This is, I'm going to see if I can get the right lighting for this. There we go. This is History Kids by David Hernandez. We're going to continue the Borderlands theme since I'm from Tucson, Arizona. These kids in tents, white tents in camps in Texas. These brown kids who trekked miles with parents, deserts and mountain passes with parents, days of scorch and nights with parents with flashlights, stars with mama's voice soothing kids with moon-blued skin, whose closed eyelids and dreaming, with high noon shadows and humming, the land sliding into hand-me-down shoes, laceless rubber soles worn thin. These kids, now in chain-link pens, trapped in, wrapped in thermal blankets, in synthetic shine, flashing together like stars, the ones you don't see, hidden by distance, by degrees below horizon, by these government tents, these canopies of white. In pictures, they blur their faces. They vanish, anguished eyes we see any way we imagine. Which shade of earth, which hue of helpless, specks of gold, or green like mica in stone. Oh, America, your own kids shimmer this summer, the season of turning hydrants to fountains, mailboxes to scrap metal thanks to fireworks, waxy vines on kitchen walls thanks to crayons, thanks to kids. But that's how they are. That's what they do. They're just kids. They're just kids. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean you're not all as tall as me? You want me to come up there and fix that?
Yeah, at least.
All right, yeah.
I'm still growing, guys. Don't give up. I'm still growing.
I'm so good.
No problem.
All right.
I chose my height at birth. I'm Patricia Janet Wesley. Sometimes they call me Trouble. You told us to introduce ourselves. Okay, I will read one poem that tells you where I come from, and then I will read one that from Cutthroat that is about us. We, the almost deported. I come from a continent where women are told to shut up. It's in Cutthroat. I come from a country, I am a one-woman army through which children come like a sieve. I breathe out words and words become people, and people spill fire at buildings that are burning with hate. And hate begets dust because after all, it was never meant to give birth to life. I used to wonder as a child if my mother was the ocean, a woman who was the storehouse of life. I wondered if the men who came through her like a flowing river could be turned to dust. As a child, I used to think I could kill my mother's lover. His angry eyes, big chest and feet, hands as rough as concrete. The sort of men from the 1960s who looked like they came from the war in Biafra. Even though they'd never been anywhere, men who looked like they were tossed onto ships to the Gold Coast in search of gold, until the new Ghana to which they'd fled hauled them onto ships back home to the same Africa Kwame Nkrumah died to save. I used to wonder if the 1960s was for real, because Monrovia was always on fire, burning flames at midnight, matter houses, tarred roofs, shanty towns. A life of nothing with poor squatters who came to Monrovia to find life, but quickly found death. In the ghettos of Soniwe, West Point, Bassa community slipped away. But on 26th day, William Tubman and his men boasted of a country birthed out of the quest for freedom, when all the time it was slavery they were transplanting. I come from a continent where a woman is told to shut up, to let men be men, to bring forth babies, to cook and clean and rat in the backyards, while their men roam dark nights searching for lost mommy water they could go to bed with for one night. I was born in a country where a woman held on to a hot pot with one hand and with the other hand held on to a man that was only a shadow of a man. Where children were left behind by men who moved on to other women the way you move on to a new neighborhood. Until that neighborhood was also broken and spent, like Bishop Brooks, Slipway, Charlottetown, broken in places, the way a child breaks her pencil into pieces. I wanted to take a man and put him in a mortar and with a pestle pound him and purify him the way you purify rice. But someone once told me that my father was also a man, broken, dust, and everything a man was not created to be. So I knelt at the altar and asked God to help me make a man into my image, to recreate the man God had made, to build sons that would stray far from their roots and become real men, the way a man was supposed to be, a man that could walk into a burning house to rescue his children and survive the flames and become the flames, healing the land. I'll read my last poem, Belonging. What I like about that poem, I've never read it anywhere. It's new, where a man or two did not follow me and put lines from it that they either didn't like or that they were inspired by to change them. So men can remember poems even if they are not poets. Belonging. Belonging. A song for dreamers. There is something about a world where some can never belong, a country that never quits picking out those who used to own the land. How they pick them out like the way my mama used to sit and pick out from the white grains of parboiled rice, the dark white black grains, the unformed, the ones killed by sun and rain and the cold dew. How mama sat all day cleaning out the dark brown grains away before the cooking process. Today, hundreds of thousands of children who swam through swamps and ocean, who came in baskets tossed on the ocean, who so infant they only cooled their way here. Children whose mothers sent them to safety or what they thought was safety. Like the mother of Moses, and how the new world of dark hearts is shaping them away back to a land they do not belong. To belong is to belong, is to belong, is to know you belong. But there is something ominous about waking up at dawn, rolling under your comforter, and knowing the way we know our hands and our fingers that you do not belong. Today, a man whose family came from somewhere is asking those who used to belong to not belong anymore. You see rocks and you see mountains and you see swamp and you see trees and you see sand on the ocean and you see ground and you know they belong. Only the feet of those not belonging, the new homeless, the ones who wake up day to day and belonged yesterday, but today do not belong. Those whose belonging to America depends on who sits up in that big white house. There is something sad about belonging to no country. There is something racist about being a racist, because a racist sees color the way God can never see color.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm Laura Gray Street, and my record number of sneezes in a row is 32. And when I was young, I had a cat who apparently trusted me enough to have her litter of kittens in my bed when I was sleeping in the bed. Twice. I'm going to read 2 poems from this amazing anthology that Ann Fisher-Worth and I co-edited. And the first poem is, I had to read the poem by Jennifer Martelli in her memory. Jennifer and I were at Warren Wilson together, and she was the cohort right ahead of me, and someone I just looked up to, was in awe of, and anyway, miss having her in the world. Snakes. I have to learn to breathe differently here, Las Vegas style. Today, I'll tour the strip in all the ways my diamondback snake brain could unhinge and fix. Blackjack, cool green menthol cigarettes, shrimp curved in pain on ice sculpted into the pieta. I asked my friend, whom I've loved longer than my husband or my children, about snakes. I've done my research. Colubridae, Mojave Green, Sidewinder, Coach Whip, Panamint Rattler, Basin Green. Will they come to the blue, warm pools she dug out back, surrounded by brush and cacti blooms, herbs? No, she said. Only baby scorpions come, clear and small as my fingertip, all crustacean, arachnid, and clawed. She says I may get a nosebleed because of the heat, the arid air, the strange elevation of a city so deep in its dry basin. And then the second poem I'm going to read is by Marie Howe. Postscript. What we did to the earth, we did to our daughters, one after another. What we did to the trees, we did to our elders, stacked in their wheelchairs by the lunchroom door. What we did to our daughters, we did to our sons, calling out for their mothers. What we did to the trees, we did to the earth, we did to our sons, to our daughters. What we did to the cow, to the pig, to the lamb, we did to the earth, butchered and milked it. Few of us knew what the bird calls meant or what the fires were saying. We took of earth and took, and the earth seemed not to mind. Until one of our daughters shouted, "It was right in front of you, right in front of your eyes, and you didn't see." The air turned red. The ocean grew teeth.
All right, I'm even shorter than the other one.
The Patricia of this world, or no. We may be fast.
I got it figured out. I got it.
We may be fast, but we're short.
Thank you, Drew.
Oh my God, that's what, maybe a little, yeah, right there. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
I'm Patricia Spears Jones, and what does that know about me? All right, what do you not know about me? What do you think? Why are y'all talking?
Yeah, Mama.
Thank you. Now you know what I can do when I say, "What you doing?" Anyway, every once in a while I'm a teacher. Every once in a while. So, I'm going, you mentioned 20, what happened in 2020, so this is going to be a poem, couple of poems and then a prompt for everybody here. All right. First and last nights in Virginia, January and May 2020. First night in Virginia, we stopped at a CVS, late. The store is vast and sorry. The lone clerk slow wipes the counter. She slumps, sags, all that worry, and her spills onto the counter's hard plastic top. I gather items and wait for her suddenly cheerful acknowledgement. It seems as if fate has made this place a symbol of American want. Everything in this place seems cheap, except the products for sale. The lighting, the railings, the counter. This is replicated in Walmart, Walgreens. Only the dollar store does not pretend to be anything other than a repository of things you need and things you don't. The clerks are not well paid, and at night, left to fend for themselves in this plastic vastness. On my last visit, the clerk stands behind a cheap plastic protector, more symbol than reality. She wears her mask and behind it smiles. She has a job, and that's good. But this is yet another display, and she is expendable. We all are. And then one last one. All right. Where is it? Oh, I just lost it. I used to hate it when people did that thing. I had it there and then I lost it. And then you did lose it. Then you did lose it and you had it. Okay. Well, I'm going to let that go. So, this is the prompt and then something that has a little bit of healing to it. All right. We know what we're living through right now. And so my thing for all of y'all, everybody here is a poet probably. If not a poet, you should be one. Why not? One of the things that poets can do, we can create curses. And we need to do some serious cursing right now. So, this is my instructions for nouvelle curses. All right, how to begin the work of curses. Ancient ones are ineffective, but new ones, what can we whisper, chant it and shout? Try this. Every one of you has an assignment now. Don't curse. But anyway, here we go. First, send snakes. Snakes on the road, snakes in their path, small ones, large ones. Let the cobra curve itself around the uplifted neck of the ex-beauty queen. Let the cottonmouth bite the fat man's fat ass. Send thousands of pigeons across, no, the one with the cobra, Christy Nolan's song, They work. Okay. Send thousands of pigeons across their flight path. Send thousands of pigeons to shit on the tarmac. Send a flock of finches to pluck off masks and peck out eyes. Let them hear cats purring amplified into every ear, their own personal flashbang. Let their ears bleed. Let the cats scratch their arms, their legs, their thighs. Let the skin scar. Send diseased mosquitoes, better to bite the skin of cryonized blondes. send hairless necromancers summoning lynch mob leaders of the 20th century. Let their hands wring the semen-soaked underwear of 40-year-old pedophiles. Oh, let lightning strike their armories, igniting fires in the windows. Let them snort the chemical agents that make an infant stop breathing. Let them witness their own personal hellfire. Lift the accursed up to the White House rooftop, then drop them onto the paved over rose garden. Record the harrowing screams and the attendant laughter. Let freedom ring. Now y'all know me. I'm not gonna leave you just being angry and mad, because what? That's just part of the deal. The other part is the reason why we fight for what we do is because we make beautiful things and we send them into the world. 2 years ago I was in Kansas City and I got to go to the Nelson Atkins Museum where I saw the Kuan Yin of the Southern Seas at the Nelson Atkins Museum. And if you ever get to Kansas City and go there, you will be most amazed. It is not that the sculpture is over 12 feet high. It is that her face is becalmed. One arm rests on a base while the other extends past the knee, as if to say to all who look up, I am just here on the bridge between our worlds and others. Wood colored and decorated, a kind of score so that humans and spirits and creatures of all kinds can find some measure of song. At the far end of a huge display of 11th century Chinese art, this marvel of sculptural skill and divine treasure brings us to a stillness that can be carried like a black pebble felt on the black sand beach 40 years before by tides that crossed the Pacific from China to America. Break down the mineral marvels as the full moon shines and shines. We are in need of this grand icon. Her placid face a gift, a beatitude, a boon for nervous travelers and seekers of fine experiences, the pleasures of the unfamiliar. The Chinese artists are so skilled, it is as if they willed this figure from a single piece of wood to withstand the ocean crossing, the scholars' debates, the hippies gallivanting. We are tourists in the southern seas and we have no idea of who is navigating and what, but there she stands and she offers this merciful gaze upon all of us busy with our selfies and noise. We stop taking pictures. We do not speak. We seek somehow to match her calmness. We cannot. But a few seconds, we surrender to her serenity. We find ourselves tender. We find ourselves alone.
Okay. Oh, I know, but I was sick. Okay, that's fine. Sorry. I'm a mess.
And you're doing so
I'm
bad.
Teresa.
Can I help you with that?
I'm also really loud, so sometimes I'm overwhelming on a microphone. Does it work like this?
Yes.
Can you hear me like in the back? Because I want to be accessible. Okay, great. Sometimes the microphone's honestly too much. My voice is big. I was an elementary school teacher. Okay. It's first of all, it's just so beautiful to be here with you all, and like all the book fair everywhere, chaos, and everyone looking at each other's name tags to see who's famous. Like, this is the place that I want to be. You know, you are the people I want to be with. So it's such an honor, and thank you. My fact about myself is that I was on The Price is Right once, and I won an ATV. And Drew Carey told me off camera that I was the funniest contestant they've ever had, and I don't think it was a compliment. I'm reading from my book, Something Small of How to See a River. I'm just going to give a really fast little context in case it needs it. I think you all know, college students I have to tell, you know, but you all are people I think know about the movement that happened at Standing Rock in 2016. And so my friend Elena Eagleshield from Standing Rock invited me to help her co-run a school at the camp, and I was very, very lucky to be a guest in that space for 5 months. I also very much never want to be, the book is very much about whiteness, and I am white, and I also never want to be the only thing that anybody reads about the movement. I have a long list of Native authors, but one thing I would really like to shout out always is Orion Magazine had a really beautiful feature called Women of Standing Rock. That is very worth looking up. Also, contact me if you want my list, because there's so many good books. I also want to share a little bit from one of my students, a poem that she wrote, which is also a piece of it, is in the book. No matter how scary things got, every morning we would pray by the river. Someone would light the sage, and I think about all the things I'm thankful for, like how we're by the river, and we have clean water, and we have breakfast, and the sun's coming up. I'd start praying for the water and the people who were sick or troubled at that time. We'd always put our hands in the river. It was so cool, and I could feel it between my fingers as it was flowing down the stream. I'd feel more with myself, more like myself. And that's from Frankie Archambault, and she's actually come on a lot of the book tour with me, which has been really, really special. Okay, so the first poem I'm going to read is called We End Up at a Buffalo Butchering After the Halloween Party. Two men struggle, pull at the hide where its belly is slit like a seam, constellate the thick fur with their headlamps, small beside the crude oil spotlights that bleach the sky of stars now. A woman or the purple bandana slices the membrane, exposed, thin as moon. The animal pops open, knob-kneed, leg flung toward the kids shivering in my lap. RJ whispers, Pilamayage tapanka for the stew and the taco meat. We nod. Polyester ninja suits and tiger tails dampening in the grass. Snicker wrappers circling us like rocks around a fire. 3 days since Treaty Camp was raided. Since I drove them in circles all night, past dark teepees and empty trailers, past ambulances clustered like a scab by the waving flag road. All of us eating trunk-stale Oreos and dry ramen, crooning too loud to some song that nobody liked. Everyone knew better than to ask for their family. I'm a zombie still. Or half of one anyway, in dollar store makeup done up by the girls. Shawnee Ray holds my hand in her face, delicate as if I am a bundle of bird bones. Dabs baby wipes at the green sludge beneath my eyes, the blood on my mouth. The buffalo's fat frosted muscle glistens now, runs in streams, the animal red and hideless in the too bright night. We look like that inside, Shawnee pauses to say. RJ says, in the old days they killed them with bows, but now they use guns. Shelina shakes her head. No, only cops have those. All right, and then, all right, so this next one is, I always want to read this poem. This is my favorite one to read because I think, you know, one thing
Just read it.
I have to give a little information about it though. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. I drove this really terrible car at the camp, and the kids were always trying to, they always wanted to be in this car. They always wanted to take it over. It was like losing pieces throughout the camp. The muffler was falling out. It was just a mess, but they were obsessed with it. And I also, once in a while, had to go to the nearby casino to use the internet to send emails, whatever. But they did not like that. They were not into that. So this is a poem about them taking this into their own hands. There are no police in this poem. Only the kids balancing in their snow boots, the log beneath them rainbowed in resistance slogans, slush gray light interrupted by the bright flags of their arms. They wave down our car. Teachers, teachers! We unclick the loose tooth of each manual lock, and the dinged up doors, full weight of the kids on their handles, fly open like the arms of startled infants. There are no police in this poem. Only Shawnee Ray, my foot as her springboard, vaulting to the council, asterisking my borrowed skirt with the juice of her gas station pickle. Only Shelby's hands, winging my books from the back seat, and Shaylina, who can't be bothered, wedging her knees into the narrow volumes of poetry, slick picture book covers. I'm saying there are no police in this car. Where Frankie lunges over everybody, her arms and long black cape of a coat wrapped around baby Dylan, Marshmallow Man in his snowsuit, fingers Sour Patch sticky. Somehow, suddenly, my hands, my feet are off the wheel, the pedals. I am ankle deep in the snow. All the teachers are shivering spectators of this wild joy. And I can see it doesn't belong to me, but I can love it anyhow. There are no police anywhere. As Emma's elbow pokes the horn, beep, 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 jostling through the snow muffle of prairie as Raina and Nyla and RJ co-sardine the driver's seat, getaway curls smushed on the felt of the ceiling. There are no seats left in the car, so Michael and Leighton scramble the windshield, sprawl on the roof. There are only the kids shouting the ecstatic tally of themselves. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 14, as they take this frame that looked so inflexible and there, make space for each of their bodies.
Is Eddie Finch here? Is Eddie Finch here? We're going to Annie Fisher Worth, and then we'll be back on our numbers. The next one will be Maddie.
Okay.
Yeah, Annie.
So, hi everybody.
Hello.
It's nice to be here. So I'm from Mississippi. I'm going to read one poem from the anthology and then another poem from Cutthroat. So January Gill O'Neill was our Grisham writer in residence at one point, and she wrote this poem, which has become pretty famous. It's a beautiful poem called The River Remembers. Here the water is silt brown, stretches mile wide, flat as a washed out conveyor belt, an unhemmed rumble strip. I can't read the river, can't see my hand when it plunges elbow deep to feel the cool against the Mississippi heat, hot as a dog's mouth. Here we canoe for hours through swirling eddies, watch the trash barges and towboats travel downstream. The river glistens hard as broken glass. Here, Everything is fluid. In lower Mississippi, the south, where the two-lane blacktop cuts through an infinity of flat, cotton, soybean, corn, farm, tumble-down shack. Creeks and rivers bifurcate the land like blood veins. Here the GPS gives up. New islands form at the current's whim, and what is untouched grows lush and verdant. Willow and privet border the collapsing coastline. A carp leaps into the boat when it hears us coming. We stop here in an oxbow. Gumbo mud sticks to our feet. River rock, plastic, fossils, gar. Raccoon and coyote leave tracks in the rust-colored sand. The slaves, sold down the river, hid here, waited for their chance to escape up north, hid in caves, fled to the Twin Cities in Canada, their fate at the mercy of the river's next rise. Here's the nadir of our suffering, which started in one place to end in another. Here's where flow and marvel and history converge. This harm joy, this beautiful sadness. Oh, I forgot to tell you, my bio, I flunked fencing. I took it as a freshman in college. 2 reasons. I was a show-off and I would lunge so deep that I'd fall over. I couldn't get back up. And I fell in love with my fencing partner and we just cut class all the time. He was very, very cute. Very soulful. And dropped out of school shortly thereafter. So, I am a mother of 5. I care a lot about babies. And this is a poem that I wrote shortly after all the Right to Life crap started. It's called Soon There Will Be More Unwanted Children. And the beginning quotes from Basho from The Road to the Far North, very, very famous passage in that book. As fragile as the flowers of bush clover that scatter at the slightest stir of the autumn wind, the abandoned child by the Fiji River reaches out wailing, face streaked with mucus and tears. Basho, moved with pity, leaves food that passes on. Here I stop. Here I stop. Each time. Basho's footsteps stay along the trail. He turns a corner. Centuries pass. Water rushes over the stones. Chrysanthemums wither. Leaves fail and cover the little bones.
I too will go without the microphone.
Because we're afraid to touch it.
I can help. I'm here to help.
I think they're next.
I think I can project.
It's okay. Like,
Or are we good? Is this volume okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay, my little tidbit. My drag name was Sharon Stone, and some of you might know that, but then none of you know that in performing to Bootylicious, we once ate peanut butter and jellies on stage. We are all about hiking.
say it again.
What happened? Repeat the last line. Peanut butter and jelly.
In a high camp fashion, we ate peanut butter and jellies on stage to Destiny's Child's Bootylicious, which does date me a little bit. I'm going to read a poem from Careful Collaboration by Erica and Breen. It's called Field Operations. Bounded on the south by the old country road, I remember a sand pit like a beach on Upper Dummerston Road, so-called. A few tufts of coarse grasses leading from Brattleboro to Newfane, straggling here and there. Westerly by land of Hubert Moore, grass grows up to my armpits now, so thick and land of Walter J. Barber, it chokes my steps. The barn overflows, and land of the Brattleboro retreat with hay by the end of his life, northerly, by and along the river road so-called, Claude reached beyond parsing. His farm had leading from Brattleboro to Newfane, paid dearly for his education. This he'd learned to a point where the fence corners he gave the land. Thence, westerly on land of Glen R. Grout, before the fence, the chickadees flitted to a pine stump, hemlocks along the stream as the fence now runs. Moss crept along banks, thence southwesterly on land of said Grout. The fence runs over what came before to land owned by Mrs. F.A. Phelps, source that knits land together, where the fence corners as the fence now runs, mycelium stitching life to life. Thence, westerly on land of said Phelps, this land's health burrows with the grubs to a corner in the fence. In the soil dwells, as the fence now runs, underground. And thence, southerly on land of said Phelps, a web of creatures it hosts and spreads to the old county highway, or Drummerston Road, the fox who hunts there, neighbors' footsteps above mentioned as the fence now runs, all contributions bank abundance. And from thence to the point of beginning, provenance from the dream of beginning, containing by estimation 52 acres, this land grows a rare devotion. Be the same more or less. Ravens nest in the pines, with buildings thereon, mushrooms slow, including the white rites connected with by the stream. A farmer drives by, speaks, and being the same premise, to the team who haul a load of squash, this day conveyed from the field the lumpy pile, shades of orange to me and earth, by said era Blodgett Tate, soft sound of hooves on the dirt road. So that was from BEI's, or About Place Journal's issue on careful collaboration, and I'll read one of my poems really quickly here. Domestic pastoral, and it has an epigraph. Barbed wire entered human history once its cost had been pushed right down by 2 decades of agricultural development. Only then could it become a key element in the modern texture of power or of misery. And the misery which humans inflict on animals may ultimately be inseparable from the misery which they inflict on themselves. Reveal nets, barbed wire. Sometimes I say domestic, and I mean home, or the state of it, messy as the unmade bed, pristine as any counter, wiped clean, likely in between. Often when I say the word, I mean the state, and all the ways it displays its vibrances, but refuses to know them. My beloved hangs art on the living room wall, steady in his commitment to precision. There are 5 clothed animals, a bison in checkered flannel, a rabbit donning a floral crown, a bear in Sherpa-lined denim, a goat with a climbing rope, cans and nuts, and a hen in overalls and a blue bandana. They look to one another like, who in God's name dressed us and get us out of these bucking frames? A heart pulses, deveined like the shrimp he prepares in the kitchen sink, detached from its arteries too. Roots unfurl into open palms, to beg and to pray being the same act here. I survey his labor, thus time and all its spatial ironies on the smooth white surface. Animal aesthetics as they are. His name is a place the state just bombed, though we don't require this relation to be furious or frightened. Once when we were home we sat in a river. Now the sandbar is covered in razor wire. When a man says the state of things, metal just growing out of the ground like that, he does not expect us to believe him. He means to say he put that there. He made that river a wartime trench. At Rice University, I write with students next to a piece of the Berlin Wall. inspiring now mostly in its deconstruction. One side concrete, austere, empty, on the other a heart above salut mes amis, curling cursively. Elsewhere, still, barriers and checkpoints wrapped in metal thorns keep humans apart, hide deaths as though slaughter was never a natural process. Ever a natural process. Behold the ramparts, sharp and barbarous. Not every wall is a fascist monument, though most of them are. My beloved tried to make ours beautiful, animal as our state believes us to be. It's not the same, it's different, I promise. We can move our art elsewhere, lift each frame gently from their nails like wire unwound from a post. Our soft hands open and full, so often unscathed. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to do it. I have a loud voice too. Somebody short's gonna come up here and use the microphone. First of all, I want to thank you all and thank the spirits of this place. It's really full. I feel it. I'm Erin Hoffman-Hollowell. My fact is I ran into a grizzly bear with 2 cubs on a running trail and lived to tell about it.
Wow.
This one's called, I'm going to read 2 poems. An Order of Magnitude. I have always disliked pushki weed, cow parsnip if you will, its insistence on sheer size, leaves and arm span, blossoms the width of a human head. One of my first memories is of my father in a busy store kneeling down to tie my shoe, his voice snapping out, "She's only 3. Of course she doesn't know how to tie her shoes." Maybe Godzilla wasn't trying to destroy the villages. Maybe Godzilla just couldn't tiptoe without falling over, and the villages were everywhere and always in the way. Pushki weed's audacious green pushes above everything else. It doesn't matter how many times I take a machete to it in the yard, the road is lined with its enormous, gaudy umbrellas of white. I was always standing in the back of every class picture, slinking against the wall at dances. Even now, my shoulders are permanently rounded into smallerness. Godzilla at home probably had just one comfortable chair, his feet likely hanging over the edge of the bed, those pesky warplanes and people screaming at him to go away. He knows he's a freak, but all he wants is a little peace. All winter, the skeletal remains of Pushki withstand the wind and hold coronets of snow against the spare blue sky.
Yeah.
So I live in Alaska, which, if you haven't been, please come. But if you live there, you're on the bleeding edge of climate change, and this is about that. Imaginary landscapes among the erratic romantics. One day, the glacier repaired itself. The mighty blue tongue covered the lake. There was no more honking. Herring ran like silver traffic. A brown bear shrugged awake. People left bouquets of skunk cabbage. Snow scrolled back into the clouds. Mud became the fluent language. A varied thrush came back in February. Its song became an education, a spoke. Little children learned the names of plants, but only by speaking with them. Yarrow had the best stories. Artemisia spoke in silver spear rhymes. In the morning, pine siskins flocked in the alders, a brilliant noise collection, a bag full of chicanery. One moose thought it might just lie down. Like a cabin, it became a refuge, an abandonment. The crows on the beach cooperated, turning over stones for each other and prattling. Sunshine demanded the allegiance of everything, and everything was eager to give it. One old woman stood all day and sang to the ocean. We all finally understood the words and memorized them. The ocean wrapped its arms around the town, the houses empty, except for the calm darkness that now lived there.
I may as well keep this tradition going. Yeah. Hold the mic.
I think you need the mic.
You think I need it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I need it, okay. I just want to say at the age of 8, I could cook the perfect roux, the most splendid gravy you would ever want. Don't ask me to do it now. This is hot off the presses. It's called Rooms from World War Press, and it's in response to Gertrude Stein's Tender Buttons.
Wow.
We did 3 anthologies, and this is the 3rd one in response to Rooms. And this is my first time seeing it today. It's nothing like going and getting your copy of the book. And I actually did not think I would be on this program, but somehow I am. So thank you to Pam, and thank you to my BEI family and Terry. I'm not going to read the room that my poem responds to. I'm just going to read the poem. It's called Talking Back. We are the burning in this delicious, sleepless night. Enjoy the infantery of Manet's odorless. What if now we privilege the black woman maid holding the bouquet of flowers just for herself? What if instead of drawing her mistress's bath, she puts on a golden frock and went out to a party, neither at the top or the bottom of anything, to become enthralled by change that makes us all stop everything? In our modern world, a return to a quiet, almost holy. See any Van Gogh canvas, each brushstroke is like prayer. In the quickening silence, we revel in the near collapse of colonial presence. Tear down statues, return First Nation power objects. From Bamako to Dakar, the French be gone already. May this shift stupefy the most cruel, greedy, and blind ones. What living can be lived, much less earned among this kind? No, actually, it was the owners of fireworks who shattered the peace and air of neighborhoods from Brooklyn to Chicago with blasts that destroyed the divine presence of rare animals and birds who never come among our humankind. The Russians were the second ones to break the peace in our unnatural world, so enthralled by hunger for war, tentative tries splinter our lives with the same old miasmas. Will the colonial era ever end? Can we wipe its sullen residue from our generations? Now, like 1917, bloodlust for all things Palestinian. We live with the horror of the Balfour legacy. Same ruins, same people. There is so much more for us to learn. It may not be enough to be a witness. It may not be enough to change pronouns, genders, alliances. Such awkward and brutal times. What joy, what desire can mitigate what we have become?
Is Drew here?
Yes. I was trying to count.
Drew, do you need my help on the microphone?
I'm gonna try something.
It's a little low.
I'm gonna try something.
It's very low.
It's gonna sit. It's perfect.
That's better. Oh, wow. That was easy.
Okay, so well, first of all, thank you all for being here. It's amazing space, amazing spirit, as Aaron was saying, and you can feel it's palpable. I was expelled from first grade for drawing an anatomically correct nude. That's all I'm gonna say about that. In her absence, Pam wanted me to read Joy is the Justice, but you can read that for yourselves in the anthology. And anthologies are such important things. We get to stand, sit, walk, whatever, shoulder to shoulder with kindred spirits. But I'm also into something I call poetry roulette. So I pick something I'm working on. Maybe it's published, maybe it's not. But I wanted to share this. This is called Negro Math, Counting Doubts and Could-Be Racist Calculus at a Meat and Three. Does everybody know what a meat and three is?
No.
And knows what a meat. So in the South, a meat and three is you go into a restaurant, you choose a meat, and you get three vegetables, three sides. Do you remember that time? That time when we were waiting? Yeah, too long. As long as everyone else, longer. They said the food there was damn good. Slap your mama good, bone sucking good. Good enough to make seconds feel like first good. Such a quirky, cool little off the beaten track dive. People lined up like Jesus, his goddamn self, was serving the special of the day. Which was? I can't remember. Meatloaf or fried pork chops, maybe catfish. Anyway, I'm glad we're here. You? Yeah, I thought so. What are you gonna have? Just calm down, you said, with that roll of your eyes and sneaky smirk, wrinkled smile. We'll make the choice once we're inside. The line was so long, but we talked about stuff. Missing Barack, worshiping Michelle's everything. Laughing about the way our rival football teams suck. We even whispered about why the police like to pick on us, motherfuckers. We both agreed. Cursed the blue line and Black Lives Matter harmony. And just before we could dive deeper into why it is so easy to kill us without cause like dogs in the street, and how Confederate battle flags and don't tread on me flags in those red MAGA caps all meant the same thing. An Old Dominion twang sharpened voice saved the evening from more of my Negro hand-wringing angst. Finally, they called your name, you said. Patrice, party of two, come on in. We strolled forward to the front of the line. They seated us and even smiled, said y'all with a true Appalachian drawl, and even dropped a sweetie pie in the mix just to make us feel at home. The menus came and the hum of all those people packed in confirmed the happy to just be there we both felt. I breathed deep. I think you finally relaxed. There was this funky bluegrassy rip-rap thing playing through the conversational thrum. I asked with my foot tapping and my head bopping, is that Carolina chocolate drops? Sure sounds like it. You smirked, smiled, and I rolled. Again. I don't know was your retort. You know I don't dig on that country-ass shit you listen to. But before I could inform you of the group whose Hersheyiness matched our own brown hues, a tallish white chick, maybe mid-30s with her hair done high on her head like some sort of beehive dude, and with just a little bit of cleavage showing from a denim button-up shirt with sleeves rolled to her elbows, came to the rescue. Hi y'all, I'm Shirley. I'll be your girl tonight. You looked at me with that look. I smiled my smile back. Under your breath, but way too loud, you said, always gotta flirt, don't you? Told you about them white girls. That's how Emmett died. I know Shirley heard, but she let the talk slip by. Probably don't know the Till story. How a lie about a whistle and a glance got a young man lynched. What y'all have for starters, she said. How about something to drink first? It must have been mighty hot standing out in that line. Such a home feel. I looked at you, and since there was no beer to be served in this dried up county, you said, ice water, please. I'll have sweet tea was mine. But after your iced water with lemon and my iced tea with a slice also, sweet enough to throw a body into the sugar diabetes came, we waited. It didn't seem like such a long time. So we talked about how nice everyone seemed, even though we hadn't seen but one other colored face. I brought up how this was too artsy a place for racists. Too many craft breweries for hate. Do neo-Nazis drink IPAs? We kept talking about this and that, engaged in each other in the cool ambience. I noticed something, but I kept it to myself. Did that older couple with the matching blue and white I'm with him, I'm with her t-shirts come in before or after us? Did the hostess smile at them the same as us? Or were the smiles somehow less smiley for us? Perhaps our server Shirley gave us one less tooth. How about the quartet of loud-ass college girls that spilled in half drunk and half dressed? No doubt sorority co-eds. I know they entered a full 10 minutes after we sat down. But damn, look, they all four got the buttermilk cathead biscuits and local sourwood honey drizzle already. It's famously tasty and complimentary. How the fuck did that happen? I need more tea, please. And the ice water you had seems less sweaty, more tepid than cold. I saw you doing the counting then, too. Simple math, really. We'd been there about 20 minutes. The old folks and the drunk chicks only 10. I did the calculus, checked waitstaff meandering to and fro, saw them delivering people's desserts, coconut custard pie, blackberry cobbler. Maybe I would have some of that. But then the math wasn't mathing for you, and the calculus was showing me that the differential between our skin color and all those who got to eat was an equation of the familiar. Then Shirley smiled at us again, even finally came by and refreshed my swamp warm tea and poured you some fresh water. No lemon this time. Was that another slight? Our racist or not calculators started clicking again. Did that gray bearded motherfucker with the guns and God trucker hat on let his gaze linger on us a little too long? Doesn't he look a bit on the clannish side? But he had his burger and fries. It looked good. His plate, I mean. I'm a son of a bitch with my hate map geography and avoid this place like the plague slide rule. It's down to a science with me. I know the ranges of all the skinheads and fascists, know where the red states are saddest with prejudice and can tell where there might be islands of sometimes tolerant blue. I checked my phone and this particular town didn't show up online as a particularly egregious place. I even counted Civil War statues. No more than usual, really, but there did seem to be an unusual fascination with Robert E. Lee. There was a high school with a rebel mascot moniker, no stars and bars, mind you, but he wore the traitor secessionist gray. I saw an avenue named after Jeb Scott and a General Longstreet Road, but oddly no Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, signifying where the darker side of town might begin. Made me wonder what the demographic might be. It's Virginia after all. I told you all slick, cool, and knowing calm, like it didn't bother me none. But really, I was counting all along. But we were hungry, had been driving all cramped up for hours, and it was time to eat. The food finding app on your phone said that Ralph's Hungry House was a 4.5 star must-see to believe, gotta eat here, don't miss it, y'all regret it kind of place. With questions, this app's authority lingered. So here we were, wanting, still waiting. I had to piss now because Shirley had returned again. She'd given me more tea and buttoned up her shirt. I didn't even have a glimpse of tit to offer relief. I looked around and you did too. Everyone was eating but us. The knives glinted like flailing food swords in the dim light of Ralph's decor as they laid waste to the Wednesday dinner bell best. Mama's meatloaf with special sauce and 3 veggies of your choice. There was an old picture of a man in overalls with a pitchfork, and next to the door, a fried egg with wild eyes and spindly spoons for legs was being chased by a belligerent fork. A dead, dusty deer on the wall behind us watched unblinking. It was waiting too. Shirley kept apologizing, said they were short-staffed, and then that something had gone wrong. in the back, you said bullshit loud enough for the drunk girls to stop laughing and stare. Why the hell is everyone else getting served? I asked. Shirley seemed to go deaf and mute. A miracle of some sort, I guess. It was clear now, even as we doubted our own Negro math, to give this place a break. But then too much was adding up to let it go on. You gave me the look that said, it's time to go. I counted to 10, then 50 to 100, trying to calm the fuck down. Should I stand up and curse this whole place out, ask for the manager and quietly complain, or just get up and slink out, like niggers would be expected to do? We didn't finish our 5th glass of tea and 6th glass of water. We figured by then maybe urine had become a part of this order. Or maybe Shirley wasn't lying after all. Maybe what she was telling us was true. Perhaps it wasn't racist or our blackness that caused us to go hungry, waiting in county that evening in Tuckersville, Virginia. But then, maybe again, it was. We are exhausted. We are tired of counting, tired of doubting, tired of the odds that we'll be right when it counts most against us. We are even more afraid of the cost of misfiguring the forgiving gamble on goodness that really isn't there, a wager that will cost us dignity or our black and weary, worn lives. We ate chips and soda from the Quickie Mart on the edge of town that night. I had a bag of Lay's sour cream and onion, a Gatorade too, I think. You had Cheetos, the puffy ones, and a Fanta orange soda to drink. We left doubting, we left angry. We drove in silence into the night, slept into dreams of our own at a safe hotel. Next morning at the breakfast, where we got hot food fast in the next county, I marked Tuckersville off the visit again map.
Lindsay.
Then she is, honey.
Lindsay.
Oh,
okay.
it's your turn.
Sorry.
No, I thought you were next to us when we were
No, you're next.
Okay, thank you. Alright, this doesn't want to cooperate. Oh well.
Can I help you?
No, it'll be fine. I have a few pieces I'd like to read. They have nothing in common. First of all, I want to say thank you to Terry and to everybody here and for the amazing poetry that I've been hearing. It's just extraordinary. So thank you for that. The first poem I'm going to read is, I don't know about you, but I'm guessing that many of us, or most of us, have a lot of difficulty balancing life with what's going on politically and not grieving 24/7 if possible, so we can survive. So I wrote a poem about that, and I'm going to read it. It's called The Dragon and the Sword, and it's in memory of Renee Nicole Good. In the southeast corner of my house, the yellow dragon sits, auspicious, a favorable sign of luck and wealth. The sky is gray and bare branches reach in my window and scratch my skin. Clouds on the horizon sling low, no bird in sight. My friend Cynthia talks of news events I haven't yet read, the murder of a poet in Minneapolis. My friend's soft cloud of hair and blue gaze soothe my outrage, offer solace as our grief twists like sheets in a cyclone, my anger as loud as Chinese red lipstick and dragon-laden nail polish. I parse meanings for the yellow dragon, knowing my analysis may just be belief, ciphered by people who need a spiritual feel-good. What constitutes and creates favor? A god, goddess, or universal power who steers the ship of our lives towards glory? My atheist friend Scott claims no, but there's no argument to be made against faith except by the faithless. I want to escape to Paris, maybe, distract myself with a new coif, museum statues of ancient saints, the textural fabrics of haute couture. After that, I'll try to solve our world's problems. Are our lives auspicious like the dragon's promise? Does a divine power pull the global marionette strings? How many people yawn at this emergency? I snug, looking through the hashtags of plant leaves on the sill, and see Cedar Mountain, a haiku of mountains, and Mount Werner, the bloated tourist mountain of wealth, while my beloved Buddhist monk brothers trek far across our country for peace, some barefoot, asphalt staining the bottom of their feet, one offering compassion for the driver whose accident maimed him. Still my punk purple heart balls into a fist, sings the gunshot blues, asks questions into the void. Are we great again, people? Are we great? This one is funny. Or at least it's been funny the last 2 nights when I've read. Maybe you'll think it's terrible, but the story's funny anyway, even if the poem sucks. So I went to my friend's house, and she was retiring, and she lived in Missouri, and I ended up hanging out with her husband while she emptied out her office. We decided to play this game where we turned each other on to new music, pass the remote back and forth. We also decided to get high, and he went upstairs and he brought down some gummies, thinking they were 10 milligrams. They were 50. We were out of our minds. So here's the poem. It's called Pass the Remote Game. After taking 50 milligram gummies, we tripped aquatic on blues and rock, the taste of magenta and purple haze, the sound of mint and cucumber, and virtuoso musicians bending strings, huffing lyrics, riffing the sublime, most sporting shaggy rock hair and 70s natural afros. Do you know this song? Have you heard this? Musicians, fierce, clasp their instruments, locked on and spit dragon fire through mega speakers, birthing us new. I became a shiny black onyx. I looked like a stone, breathed like a stone, and stoned to the max. I don't know what Craig became as we sat there eating fresh cherries like planets. I could have wept like a jackass over Buddy Guy's funkadelic transport, wrestled from gut and heart and groin. Too high to tap my foot, I opened my lounging couch arms like a crossing guard's and took up space as light glinted off fiberglass guitars and the skeletons of drum kits. The release was quick. I lost care for due dates, grading, and everything needing answer. Have you heard this one? Craig asked. Music flowed over us like rippled ocean clear over wet sand, and with each musical turn-on, we looked at each other, our air guitars and drumsticks poised for something badass, as if spring had just surged green and out of season. We played the air, and we listened for the miracle, and when we were finished, we listened for it again. This is a poem about language. It's called Memorandum. Violet, violin, violence. Words are blameless. Each letter is a hieroglyph you awaken to. These strangely shaped symbols loop on the page, a cursive chaos whose inky black peaks rise and fall like water. Periwinkle, cranberry, and sky blue crinkle. The greeting namaste has an opal's sonic palette. The spondee, pine cone, the onomatopoeic crack of sticks, the slow unfurling of the word howling. Appreciate the inhale, words sucked tart as lemons, near rhymes deep and clean. Dismember syllables into phonemes, feel visceral words pressed silky into handmade paper. For meaning you can say you see a sandhill crane, a hawk, a river, an eagle diving for fish. You can blow plosive kisses, pomegranate, plum, and homonym, plum. You can say redemption, support, and peace, and smile because I can know you.
Done? Okay. Sorry.
No,
We
have to be out by 8.
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
I forget how long they are.
Have we missed anyone? Tell me your name. Alexis.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm just gonna read one short poem,
Thank you.
just to pass.
Tell us your thing that we don't know about you.
Legislative, what you probably don't know about me is that in a former life, I was a medieval jeweler, and that is actually true. So this is from my book, Lambs in Winter, which is a series of linked place-based essays about the place where my husband and I have made our nest with our animal companions for the last 20 years or so. And it is also, of course, a testimony to climate change and other forms of violence against the land. I often look across this valley towards the river with Tawane Bahi Wahu, Saddle Mountain, the mountain we call Camels come behind it, and imagine how it once was, before the road, before the house lots and clearings. The fiddleheads and silver maples still grow along the riverbanks as they used to, but the floodplain, once hosting a forest of elm, cottonwood, alder, and butternut, have for generations been planted with industrial corn. The soils turned over and washed away, its gifts of arrowheads and bones long given up and looted. Behind us the hills were shorn of their forests, and then overgrazed by too many sheep. By now the wild turkey, deer, and beaver have returned, the woods have grown back, the trees hold on to the soils now, but without the understory, the carpet of trillium, lady slipper, trout lily, and jackpot pulpit, all the medicines, without the big old trees, without the wolves and big cats. The chestnuts, butternuts, and big elms have all died off. The beech trees are diseased and do not grow old. The pines are twisted and covered in blisters. And now it is the brown ash tree that is dying. The original people knew how to use fire to control pests and disease, but the settlers did not know this. And maybe now that we are ready to listen, it is too late.
Thanks, everybody. We did amazing on time, and hopefully we'll have enough time at the end where we can kind of hang around and exchange numbers, and there are drinks in the back. Non-alcoholic. I need my phone. I'm not going to read my piece in Taking Liberties because it's too long. This is a shorter, unpublished piece, and it's titled Morning Walk. This morning, I decided to walk my dog Odie and left my phone at home. I have joined my son in his commitment to absent himself from all social media, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube for 70 days in order to free ourselves from those time vampires and to practice presence. I had a fleeting feeling that without my phone, I was missing an opportunity to map my walk and count my steps. This morning's air was cool and smelled of early fall, the way I remember it whispering into windows my mom would open wide as she cooked breakfast. The smell of fallen leaves and frying bacon would awaken my hunger for the grits, eggs, bacon, toast, and coffee she ritualistically prepared with love. If it was Sunday, the toast would be replaced by her homemade angel biscuits that us kids would sop with molasses. I took a route that I knew from previous walks was a mile and would, at a slow, leisurely pace, take 30 minutes. I passed a couple walking briskly, and we exchanged a greeting. While walking, I practiced presence. I focused on my breathing, the soft patter my feet made on the asphalt, the slight pain in my knees and hips, the slow, mammoth movement of my gait. Near the end of my walk, I saw a person sleeping, unhindered on the ground, partially protected from the full view of passerby due to 2 grocery carts full of random items situated to act as fences. My initial response was that I regretted leaving my phone at home because I wanted to photograph what I was seeing. Then I felt relieved that I didn't have a means to intrude on the fragile slumber of the unhoused sleeper as they attempted survival outdoors. Feeling like I needed to count my steps and the idea that a photograph taken with my phone would act as evidence of what I saw in real time with my eyes brought greater focus to the reason I am embarking on this journey with my son to absent myself from social media and to practice presence. I thought about how vulnerable to insensitive persons like myself the sleeper was, and how often those vulnerabilities are exposed on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube for the purpose of clicks and conversation. I continued my walk, counting my blessings for shelter, food, access to heat when it's cold, air when it's hot, clean water, and privacy. To not have to suffer exposure as I navigate my way through the complicated process living life is. I hope safety for the unhoused sleeper and for the millions of others in the world who suffer the same circumstances. I wanted an immediate solution to the problem that causes some to have too much and others to have too little. I remembered as a child looking into a sparsely filled refrigerator and seeing my mom cook a feast from the same empty bowls. She fed 10 kids, and if she saw one getting more than their fair share of food, she used the same admonition. Don't let your eyes be bigger than your stomach. I don't have a solution to end homelessness or to bridge the wealth gap in the world, but I have often pondered how simple life would be if everyone was blind and there was no way to compare ourselves to others, no necessity for competition, and our values would be based on not the beauty of things seen, but the beauty of things felt, like kindness, tone of voice, and ideas thoughtfully exchanged. Maybe the solution to everyone having all our basic needs met is eyes closed to social media and outside appearances, but open to our souls. Thank you.